Hi everyone, we have with us Madhavi Dahanukar, CEO of Northern Trust, and Veda Persad, Senior Vice President of Northern Trust. So they're here to talk about the 21 Days Ally Challenge. First of all, I would like to congratulate both of you because we had 108 organizations participating across 58 countries, and Northern Trust topped the charts. So congratulations on this amazing feat. And we would just like to get into, like, what was your strategy of, that you followed to make sure the Northern Trust came on top, or anything that you did to mobilize allies internally?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Maitri. Thank you, first of all, for inviting us to speak here. But I think what we'd like to start off with is to say a big thank you for organizing this event, but also that we are extremely proud of coming out on top. And, like we've mentioned to you and to our partners in India multiple times before, for us, this is natural, and it stems from our strategy at Northern Trust, at the bank globally, as well as the strategy we have in India. Our strategy in India actually was developed a few years ago. And the way we think about our strategy really in India is in three buckets, or, we've got three pillars to our strategy. And those three pillars are really people, culture, and marketplace. Our people strategy, or our people pillar, if you will, is really about attracting, developing, and retaining diverse talent. And whether that is, part of pride and, LGBT, or it's disability or gender or veterans, our focus on making sure we have the right diverse talent in the organization is extremely critical. And that's, what that pillar talks about. Our culture pillar is actually the one that has driven this allyship challenge for us to come out on top, right? And it's really about fostering that culture of inclusion. For us, inclusion is not something, we have to expend a lot of energy on. It's just part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. And inclusion for us has been, something that we are really, really proud of the way we take that forward at Northern Trust. It takes many shapes and forms in terms of our, our focus there. We've got several BRCs, or Business Resource Councils, that specifically focus on some of these pillars of our strategy, but specifically to do with culture. And then there's a ton of training and other resources that we offer our partners to be able to help them understand why inclusion is important, why diversity is important, and the role they can play, right, in making us, a diverse and inclusive, organization. And then the third part of our strategy, quickly to cover that, is marketplace, and really to think about how we enhance our position as an employer of choice, as an employer that believes and focuses on diversity and inclusion, and what any employee who joins, or any candidate that joins Northern Trust, can expect once they join the organization. So it's really about sponsoring different events. It's about our participation in the industry events, like this particular one that we participated in. But it's also about bringing thought leadership to the table. It's how we differentiate ourselves within the industry. So if I were to just think about our overall strategy and how that fits into the challenge that we recently participated in, I'd say, it's not something we really had to spend a lot of energy, calling out to our partners to participate. It happened naturally. And I think that stems from just the fact that diversity, equity, and inclusion is such an integral part of our DNA and who we are.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's really great to know. Coming to that, what was your whole experience of participating in 21 Days Ally Challenge?
So the experience was really a terrific one. And I think, just kind of feeding a little bit off of what Madhavi was talking about and our culture. When we saw this, when Pride Circle reached out to us and told us about this challenge and looking at our strategy at Northern Trust, this just naturally fit in to what we were doing as an organization. Was really something that we thought we could really embrace as part of Pride Month. And so I think that's where, for us, the experience, it just naturally fit into what we were doing. So to Madhavi's point, the reason why, we had, such great turnout is it was really our resource group. Our employee resource group was the one that just, they saw this, something that they felt passionate about. They were raising awareness about it. They were talking to, their peers about the different challenges that were out there. And so that they were truly making it as part of their own. And so it wasn't a message that came from Madhavi or from myself as the sponsor for our employee resource group, but it was actually the group themselves and our network of allies that we have within Northern Trust that drove this. And I think that was the thing for us that was just so heartwarming to see, is that it was driven by that ally network that is already firmly entrenched within Northern Trust and continued to raise that awareness throughout Pride Month.
Yes, that's lovely. Are there any key takeaways or learnings that you would have from the 21 Days Allies Challenge that you'd like to share?
It's interesting, and I think, Maitri, you know me a little bit as well, that and both Madhavi and myself have been involved in LGBT rights and inclusion and understanding, how that's is where we are right now and where we're heading towards. I think one of the things that reaching out and talking to a number of people that participated in the challenge, I think for them, there were a couple of things that really stood out for them. And that was the piece on intersectionality. So understanding not just what it meant to be a lesbian or a gay person, but to be a lesbian, so a gay woman, and having that intersectionality. So I think that was something that was really key learnings for a lot of the people that participate in the challenge itself.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. Yeah, given how interesting things got also with the Black Lives Matter movement going on globally, I think that was a big piece that even we heard feedback from, like when we reached out to other participants globally. Coming to that, you said that you have business resource councils or employee resource groups, if you will. So what is the relevance of allyship at the workplace? Like, if I could have both of you share that.
Yeah, Veda, you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, I think allyship is key to inclusion and equity in the LGBT, for our LGBT employees. But I think it's very much similar to how we have initiatives for our women in leadership initiatives. Unless the conversation is coming from all different places and from all different perspectives, it's not really going to drive the agenda forward. So I think that's why, to me, allyship is really important, because it's bringing that perspective from people who are in the community and also not in the community, to understanding what does that mean for all of us to have that diverse perspective of thought. Madhavi?
Yep. And I think just to sort of add to what Veda's commented, I think for me personally, it's about creating an environment where people feel safe and comfortable. And I think having an allyship program or having a lot of our partners sign up as allies sends a very strong message to the community that they're going to be accepted for who they are, that they don't have to put up an act which is different from what they actually feel and believe in. And I think it fosters an environment where everyone can be themselves and give their best to the organization, right? So for us, it's really about creating that space for the community to be themselves. It's about solidarity, with the community. It's about helping everyone understand that you're accepted for who you are, right? So I think from that perspective, it's a really critical element for us as part of our, whether it's our BRC or even going back to our culture, right? It's the sort of environment we want to foster. And I think taking steps in these directions sort of helps foster that environment and helps, that culture perpetuate into the future.
Yeah, that's really nice to know. And coming to the last question of all, so is there any message that you would like to send to the passionate allies at Northern Trust? Because this was a 21 days challenge, and they did put in effort. I mean, given that we're all working from home, there's multiple things that are going on. To be able to log in every day, complete a challenge, and take the learnings with them, that required effort, and I'm glad that so many of us were able to do that. So, any message that you would like to send to your passionate allies at Northern Trust?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, my message to our passionate allies is continue to be strong and courageous advocates for LGBT rights in India, both inside of Northern Trust and in our communities. Every day, this group makes me incredibly proud of their tireless efforts. And, as you stated, even in these challenging times, the fact that we are continuing to move forward and continuing to push that agenda forward, I think is an amazing, amazing effort for our ERG and our team of passionate allies. Madhavi?
Sure. And my message, right, to the allies as well as I think to all partners of Northern Trust. For us, whether it's LGBT or disability or gender or bringing in veterans into the organization, I think for us all of this is part of a much larger plan and strategy that we drive all of these different elements within. And what's really important is for the allies to keep at it and to not and to not let off in any way, bring that passion and energy on a daily basis, and also look at how we can get more and more of our partners into the fold. Because at the end of the day, like we said earlier, it's about the DNA, it's about our culture, and the more our allies can bring more folks into the fold, I think is going to be great for for Northern Trust India as a whole and Northern Trust as a bank globally. The one message that I'd certainly like to leave everybody with is, for us, when we think about diversity and inclusion, we still think about an additional step that we probably need to take and need to cross, or an additional sort of piece that we need to still get to. And I think of that as, diversity being invited to the party, inclusion being asked to dance. I think we want to get to belonging, where everybody is dancing without worrying about who's watching them, or worrying about how they'll be perceived because of who they are, or what they're doing. And I think that's the space that we really want to get into. So for all of our allies, for all of our partners, this is something to be extremely proud of who we are, of of the different things that we do at Northern Trust India, and how we take that forward and continue to come out on top.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veda. Thank you, Madhavi. It was lovely chatting with both of you, and thank you for sharing your views. And congratulations again to Northern Trust. You all are doing a fantastic job. So, thank you.
Thank you, Maitri. Thank you for having us.